if you're 12 to 39-ish, chances are, or someone in your household is, chances are you've heard of SHEIN or purchased from us. I'll just put some math together to kind of give that a clearer picture. So like our platform charges a 10% take rate. You sell on SHEIN, we take 10%. Yeah. Okay. And so that's 33% less than traditional other platforms for many, many years. So as I was designing the schema of our marketplace, the ethos of SHEIN and Marketplace overall, I was very sensitive and cognitive to the challenges that sellers face all the time, right? And profitability, like you said, Casey, was one of those biggest things I've heard all the time. Like within 24 hours, Monster Digital was able to create shirts with her wearing the 87, which was his number.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Within 24 hours, we were blowing out these shirts, right? Gen Z is going to drive 90% of digital growth in the next 5 years. So it's an audience that I'm studying on very closely, and I hope to be an expert in. We have to be, because it's going to be the future of digital.
You're listening to the Retail Razor Show, where your expert hosts and their guests cut through the clutter in retail and retail tech.
Welcome to Season 5, Episode 6 of the Retail Razor Show, the original podcast in the growing Retail Razor Podcast Network, where we cut through the clutter to give you sharp insights on what's happening in retail today and tomorrow. I'm Ricardo Belmar.
And I'm Casey Golden. Welcome, Retail Razor fans, to retail's favorite podcast and the only retail podcast in the top 10 all-time indie management podcast charts on Good Pods, where we get real about what's driving the future of retail.
Well, Casey, we've got a special episode today. We're talking about marketplaces again, which is, of course, pretty timely since the industry is all buzzing about marketplace in light of little things like tariffs and de minimis changes to imports. But we're not going that way in that direction today. We're going to do something completely different. We got a twist on the marketplace concept, don't we? If I asked you your impression of the brand SHEIN, what would you say?
Traditionally, I'd think of an apparel brand, or really a brand that totally upended fashion with their incredible ability to rapid test the market, manufacture to order, and ship direct to consumer.
And to be fair, that's what most people would probably think of too. But today, we are going to learn about a very different, very evolved SHEIN, a true marketplace built for sellers by invitation only, and not just for fashion apparel, but also for beauty, home, and lifestyle products. We're talking about a SHEIN that's transformed into a marketplace for the future, catering to millennial and Gen Z demands.
I love how so often we talk with our guests who truly have something new to share with us and our audience. Perspective pivots.
Yeah.
And I always take away so many learnings from these conversations. So our guest today is George Chang, the US GM and head of SHEIN Marketplace. And he has an amazing, rich history across so many brands like Rakuten, Newegg, Sears, Miracle, Vtex, Spreetail, and Cymex Group. George has a unique 360-degree perspective on e-commerce marketplaces, having operated, licensed, consulted, and sold on many marketplaces.
Yeah, George has led marketplace growth from the ground up, focused on Gen Z and millennial consumers. In our discussion, he's going to break down how SHEIN is helping sellers grow, what makes social commerce tick, and why loyalty in 2025 looks very different than it did from even 2 years ago.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to hearing about how SHEIN is going to help sellers and what their unique strategies are for growth, both for SHEIN and their sellers.
Definitely an episode our audience is going to want to take notes on. I'm especially excited to hear how they're expanding into non-fashion categories and how they're attracting not just big name recognizable brands to the marketplace. I think George has some interesting examples to share, but also really unique, value-driven, made-to-order sellers as well. And I know he has some incredible examples of that type too. I think everyone's going to come away from this episode with a completely new mindset for modern marketplaces and how they serve both sellers and consumers.
So if you like the sound of that, this would be the perfect time to ask our audience to please give us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Good Pods. And drop a review to let us know what you think, or maybe let us know what you'd like to see on the show in future episodes. Either way, we want to hear from you.
Absolutely. And it's worth saying that it really helps us out to have as many ratings and reviews as we can. In fact, thanks to those ratings and reviews, we're consistently hitting the top 3 spots on the indie management and indie marketing charts on Good Pods. Plus, our new Retail Transformers show, believe it or not, debuted in the number 2 spot on the Indie Management Weekly chart. So your help really does have an impact, and we cannot thank our audience enough for all of this incredible support.
Amazing. So with that, let's get straight to our conversation with George Chang, the US GM and head of SHEIN Marketplace. Welcome to the show, George. I am so glad to be having this conversation today.
Thank you. It's an honor and pleasure to be here joining you guys.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I really have to say we've been anxiously waiting for this session and have you here to talk about both your journey through retail and all the amazing things happening at SHEIN right now. So let's start with maybe some background, but for our audience. I mean, you have had a career across different e-commerce brands and marketplaces, and now at SHEIN. Can you touch a little bit on what led you to where you are now and across all those other places that you've been throughout your career?
Yeah. I've been in e-commerce longer than I'd like to admit. Seen a lot, done a lot, ran multi-billion-dollar e-commerce businesses. I've been on the merchant side of the house as a seller, some of the biggest e-commerce sellers. I've been in SaaS, so I've been in and around e-commerce a long time. But when this opportunity came across my desk for SHEIN and I did a little more research, quite honestly, I was blown away by this company that's done such a dramatic change and growth in this environment. And so I felt like I had a really unique opportunity to lead and disrupt change in this kind of fashion-ish e-commerce vertical. So that's what really led me to SHEIN.
It's awesome. Okay, so for some of our listeners, they may shop on SHEIN, or some may not yet. Can you tell us what exactly is SHEIN and what is at the core of its DNA that truly sets the brand apart?
Yeah, great question, Casey. So if you're 12 to 39-ish, chances are, or someone in your household is, chances are you've heard of SHEIN or purchased from us. I think what a lot of folks don't realize that SHEIN is this large behemoth organization. We sell in over 150 countries worldwide. We were the number 1 rated shopping app by payments.com, and we're the number 1 visited fashion site in the world according to SEMrush. So I think under our hood, folks just see, don't realize, wow, this is this enormous engine that's powering all these experiences. So I think that's what folks don't realize.
Oh,
I didn't realize that.
I didn't realize that.
Although you subtracted me from here, Adrian.
I thought you were a part of that. Yeah, and also if I could add to that a little bit, it's what really makes us different. What really is in our DNA is we're so obsessed of our customer, and obviously you know who our customer is. It's going to be 12-ish to 39, Gen Zs, young millennials, and we have a very clear, distinct, concrete customer. And what that does, that allows us to really tailor an experience toward this customer, right? And leverage different insights, different signals that's really powering everything we do behind. So if you take this concrete customer that we obsess about, allow us to anchor to this customer, you attach this behemoth, well-oiled, almost like precision kind of operations together. And that's kind of really the foundation of what SHEIN is.
Wow. So let's dig in a little bit more to that because this is pretty fascinating. Let's talk in terms of marketplace, like Marketplace 101. And so how would you describe your marketplace as being different from other, I'll use the word more traditional third-party marketplace and platforms like an Amazon, Walmart, or even Temu? What makes SHEIN different?
That's a great question, Ricardo. So we just celebrated our 2-year anniversary last month in May. So we're super excited about that.
Oh, nice.
When we first launched, we were super methodical about our marketplace launch. A lot of it's because, again, we have this really great customer and we don't want to disrupt that. And we started to build a marketplace platform and customer strategy that was a little different. And part of that is because we have, like I mentioned earlier, a very distinct customer. So that's something that we're very blessed to have that other platforms don't have. We, again, have this customer that we know very well, has a high level of density in information about how the customer shops. We can build a strategy around this customer. So that's one of the areas we're different. I think what we're also different is we got a unique platform. And the platform is built around this customer, the way that she wants to shop, the way that she interacts. So I'm just going to give you like my hot take on how it's kind of constructed.
Yeah.
So if you take like one part of traditional e-commerce, the reviews, the shopping cart, the navigation, the search, like all those kind of like foundational comfort elements of e-commerce, and then you kind of add like one part of this kind of merchant-friendly, merchant-centric dynamic where you can get to know the merchant a little bit more on a platform, and then you wrap around it this kind of like social AI discovery kind of experience into it. And then that's kind of like SHEIN as a whole. And then you layer on and sprinkle on this loyalty, kind of fun, vibrant experience where you come to our site, you earn points, you spin the wheel, you feed the puppy, you leave reviews, you interact, it's social, it's fun, it's all the vibrant things. I think that's what really makes SHEIN kind of different. So that element of our distinct customer, the unique platform, and then one last part that makes us really different is we have one of our values is creating a marketplace and platform that's accessible to customers. And so if you look at how we go to market with our merchant partners, seller partners, we have a low cost doing business. So I'll just put some math together to kind of give that a clearer picture. So like our platform charges a 10% take rate. You sell on SHEIN, we take 10%. Yeah.
Okay.
And so that's 33% less than traditional other platforms. And then on top of that, we don't add any marketing fees. And so a lot of sellers that sell on other platforms can spend up to 10% of their revenues in marketing. So we saved the seller 15%, right? And so just imagine an opportunity where, okay, fine, I take 7.5% to the merchant, they save money. We pass 7.5% savings to the customer. Everyone's happy. It's a win-win-win scenario.
Wow. Can you talk a little more about how, from the consumer's point of view in that environment, like how are customers discovering new products? Because I'm really fascinated that, how you don't have all the same added marketing fees and costs that so many other platforms charge sellers. And that's a big percentage issue for a lot of sellers is that added cost that they've got to absorb, right? And just to be on those other platforms. And of course, the other platforms tell them the promise is it's going to help your discovery, right? To be found on the platform. So how do you respond to that? If we're describing this to a seller and pointing out that you have those fees, if they say, how am I getting discovered on the platform?
Great question. So we have a very curated experience here at SHEIN. And working with marketplace partners, it's the same time experience. And so for all of our marketplace sellers, we provide them a plethora of opportunities to do merchandising, promotions, campaigns. Platform. We don't charge for those, right? On top of that, we offer them really hands-on best practices to maximize their SEO capabilities. So if you take a step back and you look at what we've done with our first-party business, the stuff that we make, right? We take these signals, we analyze them, we quickly vertically integrate into design and supply, create content, reiterate back. We want to take that same notion, that same muscle and concept, and have that extrapolated to our marketplace partners. So they're an extension of our go-to-market motion, right? So think about it. We're taking the same data signals. We have analytics on our portal where sellers can look and research and find the right assortment. And then they themselves become part of our kind of elastic assortment, all coming back to the customer and feeding that customer with assortment. So it kind of completes that loop.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really good point. I know a lot of brands that when they participate on a marketplace, a lot of fees are having to go into a marketing budget because they have to plan a loss. Because by the time the marketplace is offering these discounts, their fees, their cut, there's no profitability left.
Exactly. And I've been on the seller side for many, many years. So as I was designing the schema of our marketplace, the ethos of SHEIN and marketplace overall, I was very sensitive and cognitive to the challenges that sellers face all the time, right? And profitability, like you said, Casey, was one of those biggest things I've heard all the time. Like, how do you make a buck at the end of the day?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. What does an ideal seller look like for you? What do you consider as a good match for the marketplace?
Great question. So I'm gonna give you like my long-winded answer to the ideal seller. So when you think about e-com retail, like overall as a business model, you have traditionally traditional supply chain where you buy from a distributor supplier, it's in your store or warehouse, and when it ships, you have full control. You know where the item is, how much you're pricing it. If it's lost, you have return to the customer, you have full control, right? And then let's say you step one layer outside the comfort zone of control zone, you have like drop ship. right? Where maybe you control the price, but you don't control where the item is, right? And then you have marketplace, which is even one more level past your realm of and sphere of control, right? And so when that happens, you have to make sure that those partners are really under the umbrella of your values, right? It's for SHEIN, we value four things very simply, right? We value customer first, we value speed, we value agility, and we value accessibility, those kind of things. And so when we look for partners, we look for professional partners, folks who do this for a living that can share, embrace, and support our own values, right? So that's kind of like my long-winded answer saying we want sellers that believe in our platform, that are willing to invest. Every platform is sort of different, right? That is really looking to kind of feed into this pipeline that we're trying to build, right? This motion we're trying to build, right? So that's where we're kind of looking for. I'll give you an example. So we have this seller called Monster Digital, and they're a print-on-demand supplier. They make custom T-shirts, hats, cups, like all the good stuff, right? And the beauty of it is it's all print on demand. There's no waste, right, at all. And it's made domestically. So here kind of to illustrate a picture of how it's important for us and how we work together. I don't know if you guys remember, there was a situation where we had like Taylor Swift show up at like Travis Kelce's Kansas City football game. And all of a sudden there's this big thing about Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. And I love Taylor Swift, by the way. She's great. And all of a sudden you saw all these memes pop up about them being together. Within 24 hours, Monster Digital was able to create shirts with her wearing the 87, which was his number. Within 24 hours, we were blowing out these shirts, right? Responding to these signals, responding to social media, all these things. And we have a marketplace partner that's helping us respond. So that's kind of like the best of both worlds.
That's great. I mean, the SHEIN's Marketplace has grown far beyond fashion now. How are you curating categories like beauty and home and lifestyle to resonate with millennial shoppers who are craving that value and discovery? Discoveries become more and more difficult these days. And is this curation that as part of your strategy, is that what's keeping customers coming back beyond the fashion cycle? Because you kind of have built a customer that comes there for apparel. How do you start knowing what products and other categories to start putting in front of them to get them to think a little bit broader on what they're coming for SHEIN for?
Great question. It's something we think about often, all the time. So there's a few ways we approach it. Number one, we are blessed to have a customer base that's very responsive to us. And we have the ability to pull and give them insights. And so will pull customers on what kind of products you're looking for, we don't have, what price points, where do you shop, what type, would you buy it now, where else do you buy it from? And so in the past 6 to 8 months, we've launched supplements because we've pulled all these customers to make sure, one, does it make sense? Is it within the ethos of SHEIN? Would you feel comfortable buying it? And two, we get more detail about the type of products, type of attributes, type of price points that we're going to find. So I think that's kind of where we start to, again, back to the customer and kind of asking them like, what do they want? How can we meet their needs? How can we anticipate their needs better? Number two, we obviously have a very curated fashion element that's already kind of ingrained with us, right? Because we have a high density in fashion. So we know to a very nth degree, the type of material, style, everything we're looking for. We take that same approach and we kind of spread that across these other verticals and categories we're looking to expand. And then we take that and we try to create more interesting elements and ways to improve discoverability. And one of the ways we've done it is through collaboration. So I'll give you an example. We actually did on our homepage today, you can find a collaboration with us and Heather Ray, who is this celebrity from Sunset Properties, a Netflix show. And she actually has a whole curation of products to create with her. And her whole thing is actually very related to fashion. It's like she says, if I can quote here, having a home is a reflection of your personal style, right? And that's the same ethos what we do at SHEIN as being fashion, right? And it's an extension of your personal style. So I think that's kind of one of the ways that we can stay close to millennials, pull them what they want, and build experiences that are curated and help discoverability.
It is funny how related that is. I always say, if you looked at me, you could never dress me. But if you walked into my living room, you could probably shop for me. I'll make yours.
Yeah.
I'm
It
curious
is,
now.
it
I'm
is,
intrigued.
it is interesting how we do pull it into our home, all of our style. Most brands see this drop off in engagement as their core demographic ages. That's been an age old constraint on your customers growing out of your brand. So how do you grow up with them? But you've built loyalty very differently. How has SHEIN designed its marketplace strategy to evolve with the millennial customer?
Yeah, that's great.
How
Great
do
point.
you look at that?
Yeah. So interestingly enough, we were going through the same demographic, and you just hit the nail right on the head. We opened SHEIN here about 12 or 13 years ago. And so as you can imagine now, like some of those initial customers are growing into motherhood, right? And they have children of their own. And so this allows us to test in products to see if there's other needs we're not meeting. So it's still the same customer, but their needs are evolving. And so one of the things that we actually were really successful in is we launched with a partnership with the Children's Place last November. And it blew away all expectations. Like we thought we sensed there was some opportunity for kids' clothes, but we didn't know how nascent it was. And we realized, wow, what a great opportunity. So like that's one of the ways that we've kind of evolved with our customers by keeping a very close tab on how their needs evolve. And then it's also, like I said earlier, the natural extension of us as SHEIN growing up, where we're like transforming from this like fashion-oriented, pure fashion to like more like lifestyle-oriented.
Kids' business is so healthy. I've worked at a couple like children's wear brands, and I just have to say it was just like a breath of fresh air coming from like men's and women's. It's like, they grow out of it in like 2 months.
Right? Yeah. So fast. So fast.
Yeah, definitely. Well, it's interesting. I've heard you describe it kind of growing into a lifestyle brand versus just a fashion apparel brand. When you look across the seller community you have, how would you describe that community overall in terms of, are you drawing more recognizable brands or brands like your example with the Children's Place, or are you drawing more unique niche kind of brands that are doing really specialized, interesting things like the example you had earlier with the t-shirt, the custom t-shirt manufacturer, or is it really just a blend across all of these equally?
Yeah, great question, Ricardo. You know, our seller base is almost like our customer base. It's so diverse.
Yeah.
Right? It ranges from, like I mentioned, the Children's Place, which is a pretty well a retail brand. We have large resellers like IRB, who's on our site. We have folks who are specialized in certain verticals like Monster Digital with print on demand. We have brands direct like Palladium, who owns K-Swiss. And we have marketplace specific sellers who are just like resellers, distributors, folks who get inventory in all kinds of ways. So it's just a cornucopia of different sellers that are on our platform. I think part of it's because we have such a large business that they can service different needs like all the time. And one of the things that we discover a lot of times is we saw a lot of requests for branded items. And so actually I have a premium brand team that's focused on getting more branded items assortment on our site to realize, well, that's another way that we can get insight to our customers. And they're telling us they're searching for these brands all the time. Right. So I think it's another way that we leverage our platform for a marketplace and how diverse it is because the market's so big for us.
It's an underutilized feature for multiple people who do not have access to the e-commerce platform is to analyze what customers search for.
Yes. Yeah.
There is so much opportunity in the miss list.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
There's so much opportunity in the miss list. What did Gen Z and millennials, I mean, everybody's trying to figure out Gen Z, but like, what do Gen Z and millennials want from a marketplace in 2025? And how is that different from just 2 or 3 years ago? I could say like the user experience from an Amazon to a Walmart and gosh, even now Target, right? There's so much, the user experience is just very different. And there's a lot of product overlap, I find, from one to the other to the next. But you guys are really doing all of this internally. So what are some of those key things that one differentiate you from like your customer base of like how they see you? And really what they want from a marketplace now that maybe wasn't the case 2 or 3 years ago?
Yeah, great question. Gen Z is such a intriguing cohort, such an intriguing generation. And I can say that because my son's a Gen Zer, a younger Gen Zer. And like the way they walk and talk and interact with the world is just like almost alien to me, that the vernacular they use, terminology.
So true.
Like I know you're speaking English, but I don't know what you're saying, you know? And so like that whole audience, you know, it's so intriguing for us. And plus, according to an article I read by eMarketer, Gen Z is going to drive 90% of digital growth in the next 5 years. So it's an audience that I'm studying on very closely. And I hope to be an expert in. We have to be, because it's going to be the future of digital, right? And what we've seen is that Gen Z, they value authenticity. They value pure guidance. They value feedback. They value all these different things. And so if you take a step back to what I said earlier about our platform, like we've met all those needs, and it's not coincidental, right? So the way that Gen Z shops is they want the reviews, but they want to see what other people are saying at the same time, right? I saw another article that Gen Z is shopping less on Amazon and now doing more Google product search. That wasn't true 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, that's a big shift.
Right.
Exactly. Landscape's changing very fast. And Gen Z is going to be the most diverse, the wealthiest, biggest population in the history of the world. And so like we've built this platform that's figured it out. We figured it out. And so again, another article from eMarketer I looked on said that almost half of Gen Zers shop on SHEIN at a minimum of once a month. Minimum. So your head around that, right? And if you take the slice of gender and just take female, that's a very high penetration, So I think for us, like we always have our pulse on the hands of Gen Z. Now, another thing that we launched just recently was that it probably wasn't around 2 or 3 years ago, Casey, was we have a live stream program that we run 2 or 3 times a week. And we have more than 1 million visitors on our live stream. We have our own studio here in our LA office. We host it, produce it. It's something that listeners are starting to embrace. So those are things where we're trying to anticipate the needs of these evolving Gen Zers.
It's great. No, I'd love to see more like live shopping. I think it's great. It's so interesting on understanding who goes and uses that and enjoys it versus who hasn't. I thought Ricardo and I made a lot of bets over the last couple of years.
That's right. We've been big fans of live stream.
I was just like, it'll never hit in the US. He's like, it's going to be the normal thing.
Exactly.
So I think it's still completely relevant these days, especially with the rise of TikTok, right? And all of this video content. Social media has played a huge role in your growth in the US. From hauls to influencer collaborations, emerging live streams, like you've mentioned. How does this translate to the SHEIN Marketplace? What behaviors from Gen Z are shaping this specific strategy in social media?
You're absolutely right. Like social is such a critical component of SHEIN. We are one part social commerce, right, is what we consider ourselves. And so we were fortunate enough early on to realize that social was the way to go, and it had to be authentic again. It had to be organic. Right. So we had this concept that somebody else created, not us, called SHEIN hauls, where people would just buy a bunch of stuff, and just throw it out and look at like what they got. But we didn't create that. Somebody else did. But we built off of that. And so now we have like different teams made to cultivate different types of influencers, whether they're micro influencers, whether we have campus ambassadors, whether they're celebrities, all these different things. So it's a really, really important part of what we do. Now, the opportunity in front of us is how do we meld those together with our marketplace platform? And how do we take the best of who SHEIN has in our influencers and marry them to our marketplace? So I have an example. So we have a seller who sells ethnic products, ethnic hair products, glues, things for your wigs, makeup on, stuff like that. And they do a good amount of business. But they want to learn how to elevate their position, how to get in touch with the customer. And so we're actually working on a pilot together between them and one of our top influencers who talks about this kind of stuff. So creating that trifecta between the marketplace, our end user customer, and influencers all one, but they're SHEIN influencers. They're not just a random one. They're ones that are already kind of connected to us in our platform.
Okay.
That's really nice that you were able to support them like that, because I think a lot of sellers, they need that marketing support. They need the distribution for audience.
Mhm.
It's become increasingly expensive. CAC is out of control.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's a really big benefit that you help your sellers like that.
Yeah, I'd like to talk a little bit more about how you drive loyalty with your customers. You mentioned before how that's something that's different from just a few years ago, and how you drive loyalty with customers. What does that look like for you? What does it mean for your marketplace sellers? And are you doing things to measure loyalty, or do you think other specific examples how you're helping sellers drive loyalty?
Yeah, great question. I mean, loyalty for us is about making a connection with our customers, but also create an experience that allows them to want to come back. And our SHEIN loyalty program and points is a big part of that, huge part of that. Folks are always coming back to experience our site, to earn their points, to interact with different parts of our experience. If you leave a review, you earn SHEIN points, right? If you comment on somebody else's review, right, you earn points. Right, when you log in, you earn points. When you feed our puppy, you earn points. Right, when you watch our videos, you earn points. When you fill out,
you're really rewarding every single
behavior.
Exactly. So you see how we're building that type of stickiness on our platform, where it's fun, vibrant, engaging. You're earning at the same time. So that's the way that we've created this experience that really meets this audience. Like for me personally, like I don't shop like that. I don't want to spin the wheel. But I'm not the audience that's going to drive 9% digital growth next 5 years.
Yeah. I see how you're really focused on the experiences to drive the loyalty and make it fun and interesting, so that you basically have a consumer who doesn't even realize how much time they're spending with you.
Yes.
When you're doing that while they're still experiencing the brand, the content, everything about you, and just spending more and more time with you.
Right. And building that social experience, Ricardo, where they're like scrolling down, we're trying to deliver them what they want to see, anticipate all of that. So like all that's kind of built into that.
It all builds up together. Yeah.
Yeah. You got it.
Yeah. When you have a catalog this large before the marketplace, and now looking at adding all of these marketplace sellers and extending your merchandise categories, editing becomes the primary focus, right? Like you have to be able to distill it down, edit it. Nobody can avoiding that perfect, this is enough product, this is enough of an edit to compel that checkout versus analysis paralysis. So I assume that, of any company that segments their audience, yours is one I would never want to be responsible for. It's got to just be an insane segmentation strategy. When you're looking at consumer behavior, are you doing more to shift to consumer behavior that is trending, potentially more mindful purchasing? How do you guys really look at that?
Yeah, great question. I think that's one of the areas where folks sometimes often don't realize how much work we put into things that support sustainability. We actually have a program called SHEIN Exchange that we launched a couple years ago, where it allows customers to either turn in and sell their gently used items, purchase used items. We actually had 6.8 million users join in 2024 last year, and roughly 300,000 products on it. So it's something that we've invested into and we're continuing to build a lot. Another thing we look deeply into is partnering with technologies and also with partners who have a sustainability element to it. So for example, print on demand is a really big vertical for me. It's near and dear to me because one, it has the elements of speed and agility that we so love at SHEIN, but also has the ability to produce things locally and without any waste because you print it on demand, right? And so those are elements that we continue to look at very, very closely that are related to things that help customers think about things that are more sustainable. And we also have partnerships with other companies like Queen of Raw, who actually will sell things that are overstocked and make other things like that. And so like it's an element where I think our marketplace actually has the ability to help catalyze some of these sustainability efforts, probably even more than our own 1P business.
Yeah.
Oh, fascinating.
For any of our listeners in our audience, what would they could all in the US start thinking about this as a new sales channel for them. This is, I would definitely say your metrics in the business model is very beneficial to brands and retailers and sellers. and you have an incredible user base.
Yes.
I mean, number one, I mean, I just heard some stats today that was new to me. You're always curious. I think that this is definitely something that all of our listeners should be thinking on and get those wheels moving, because retail's been shifting for a bit here. And this is a pretty significant offering. It's pretty significant.
Yep, definitely.
Yeah. So, George, if you had to place a bold bet on the future, if you were thinking about what does a marketplace model look like in 2030, how would you describe directionally? Is that something you're building towards right now? Are you almost there? How do you view that far out ahead marketplaces evolving?
Yeah, for us at SHEIN, we're always looking ahead. The trajectory of our business, farsighted, and we see it's evolving at the same time. So the trend that I would bet on, that I would see either in 2030 or even before, is, again, the ability to get even more hyper-personalized, to have even more tailored experiences. Because as we make this transformation from fashion destination to lifestyle destination, we're getting more and more closer to how she wants to shop, how she wants to live. That's only going to get bigger and better and faster. There's a dichotomy of our strategies here together. So one strategy is, for me, like, I want to build the one-stop destination in all of fashion, because I believe that, at least in the US, and other countries may be different, that there is no one definitive place for fashion we want to go to. And I firmly believe that we can get there, and we have a right to that business as much as anyone. If you're looking for name brand fashion, the latest, greatest, used fashion, pre-owned accessories, any style on the planet, I want to have that on SHEIN. It'll take me a while to build it, but I'm going to get there, right? The other part of that is all the complementary stuff. The things are all lifestyle, things that she wants to make herself feel good, to look good, right? To live well. I think that's the other area that we're trying to build at the same time, so we can encapsulate all. Now, not every vertical or seller or category doesn't work for us. Like, I was at this trade show called Prosper a couple of months ago. It's a very big show for marketplace merchants. And we had a big booth. It's super busy. And I was helping out, and I saw a guy standing there, and walked over. I said, "Okay, how's it going? What's your name?" "Yeah, okay, well, what do you sell?" He said to me, "Oh, I have DeWalt drills, and I have Milwaukee power tools." And I said, "Wow, that's amazing. Gosh, when I was running the Sears Marketplace, I died to have that product, right? Many people give me that product." But you know what? That's not going to work here. I don't want to waste your time. I don't want to waste my time.
Right.
We have a customer that we know, that we love, we obsess, we want to delight. They're not going to buy Milwaukee power wire cutter thingy, right? In the garage.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's not going to happen.
You know? So I think for us, being just super hyper focused, having this customer that we love, that we're continue to build on, continue to evolve with, that's going to be our ethos. And then we're going to continue to blur the lines between commerce and social. Like, they're continuing to blur. They're almost one together.
George, it's been an absolutely incredible discussion. I mean, I've learned so much about the evolution of SHEIN from my very first swimsuit purchase 10 years ago. Right?
Millennial, yes.
And it's really nice to hear, like, how close you're building it around your customer base. And I'm completely intrigued on this marketplace opportunity. I think our audience is going to also be very interested. And it feels like a very authentic expansion. So congratulations.
Great.
What a fun project for you.
It is. It's a lot of fun. I love it. I love coming to work every day.
Yeah, no, and it shows. And I think there's so much that we've learned, I think, today just on how this marketplace is evolving, how you're continuously improving and building on it to really serve that customer first. To your point earlier, I think that's just been an amazing progression and amazing evolution. I'm just really excited that we got to learn so much from you today.
Great. Well, thank you guys so much. It was a pleasure and honor to be part of such a famous podcast. And so I can say that I've made it, you know? Raise your show.
Yeah.
Put that in my profile.
There you go.
Oh, it's wonderful. Thank you so much, George. So, Ricardo, I think this episode is a wrap.
Yes, it is.
Great. Thanks, guys.
If you enjoyed our show, we have a simple ask for you. Please consider giving us a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or Good Pods. Remember to smash that subscribe button in your favorite podcast player and like and subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss an episode. As always, a huge thank you to our amazing Good Pods listeners for helping us consistently rise to the top 3 spots in the indie management and indie marketing podcast charts with every episode. I'm Casey Golden.
Please follow us and share your feedback at Retail Razor on LinkedIn, Blue Sky, Threads, and Instagram. If you want to preview highlights and transcripts from each episode, right in your email inbox, please subscribe to our Substack newsletter. I'm Ricardo Belmar.
Thanks for joining us.
Until next time, keep cutting through the clutter and stay sharp. This is the Retail Razor Show.